Thank you, everybody. I'm blown away. I actually came to, I think, the third Tech Vancouver ever a few years ago, and it's so amazing to see how much this event has grown. I'm also so inspired to see during the open mic how many companies are hiring. It just goes to show how vibrant the tech community is in Vancouver. So I'm just blown away. It's amazing. So thank you guys for having me. So before I do my demo, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our company and why we started the company. So Reitium is a real estate crowdfunding platform allowing anyone with an internet connection around the world to invest in income-generating real estate. We then are applying for a securities exchange license to allow people to liquidate their fractional ownership in real estate. So the big issue around the world is real estate is the largest asset class in the world. It's $280 trillion and growing. What's amazing is at current, we only have 45% of the world living in cities, but every week about 150,000 people leave a village somewhere in the world and head for a city. And by 2050, we're going to have 70% of the world living in cities. Now, the big thing is the demand for infrastructure in cities is increasing exponentially. So the question that we have to ask is, who is going to fund that? Who is going to create wealth out of that? And we think it should be more people than just the richest people in the world. And so we see a few trends that are very inspiring to us. I think one is the fact that at this point now, we're approaching 4 billion people with an internet connection, and this is mainly through mobile internet. What's fantastic about that is if you're a startup, your ability to reach customers on a global sphere is just unbelievable. Like, you can only imagine before there were apps, before there were mobile phones, like only the biggest companies could even dream about doing global business. And the second thing is you look at the trend with sharing economy. The shift in consciousness from I'm going to have something for myself to I'm going to share things to crowdfunding. So we're looking at, we're really standing on the shoulders of giants like Kickstarter, Uber, Airbnb, things like that. It just shifted the way people think. And then we just think about how cities are becoming so unaffordable for millennials, for seniors. And we just think that through the crowd, we can really own a lot of things, and we can really change the way people think about real estate and think about owning assets. So I'm just going to go very quickly into a demo, and unfortunately, my actual app demo had a little bit of a bug, so I'm just going to show you a quick design demo here. So in as little as under a minute, you can go on our mobile app. We're really excited to be launching here in the next 30 days, and we'll have the first properties in Canada. To date, we have taken a world tour. We've been around the world since January, traveling through Asia and Europe and the States, and we have $830 million worth of assets that are going to be listed on our platform starting in January, but we're doing our first trials here in Vancouver. So using the Reitium platform is as easy as registering. You sign up, put your information in, you then pick your company, your country, and what's amazing is really the backbone of this is two things. One is compliance. So we have an engine that works with securities regulation around crowdfunding, accredited, non-accredited investors. So in Canada, in Vancouver, if you're a non-accredited investor, meaning you earn less than $300,000 or $250,000 a year or have less than $1 million in assets, you can only invest $1,500 in a private placement a couple times a year. If you're in Ontario, it's like up to $10,000. If you're in Nova Scotia, blah, 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 blah. In America, it's every state by state. So we've programmed this into the back end. So as soon as you put in your country, you say that you're not accredited, now you can only do compliant trades on our platform. And a lot of the asset owners around the world really like this because they don't need to have a huge legal team in the back end. We automate the legal for them. We also then use blockchain technologies as 3 ledgers. We have a ledger of all the investors, their accreditation, where their money comes from, anti-money laundering. We then have a ledger of all the properties and all the property documents. This is titles, this is offer memorandums, this is financials, and what this allows you to do, if you have a property in one country, it's very easy for you to kind of look over things, but when you're dealing with international documentation, the blockchain database allows for people to become good actors, because if you submit any document, it's immutable. When you do a trade, when you do a transaction, On the investor side, you know you're protected because no one can tamper with that. And here in Canada, we're in one of the greatest legal jurisdictions in the world, so we don't understand what that means. But in places like Philippines, when you have 26 documents just to transfer a land title with, 20% of land titles having fraud in them, this is a really big problem. So we're thinking global and we're thinking on how to deal with that. So let's continue. So I put a nice picture in there, and that's me on a good day. And now I have a few options. So I'm going to verify my identity. We're working with a partner that has 1,000 databases around the world. I put my identity card in there. It scans my ID. It sees if I'm on a terror watch list. It sees if I have any unpaid parking tickets. Maybe not really. But once I'm validated my ID, I'm through there. I can then load my wallet. We work with different payment providers around the world. You can pay with any type of cryptocurrency. You can pay with a bank wire or a credit card. What's really great is we then do anti-money laundering just to make sure that everybody on the platform is clean, all the money is clean as well, and your wallet's loaded. Now it's time to look at some properties. So we go in, we have our starting cities there. I really like Vancouver. And we created this beautiful Tinder experience that I can't show you today, but it'll be live there, so you can just kind of flick through. This looks like a great property, 2 beds, 2 bath. There's an estimated return. I can click for some more information. And now I go in and I can see more property details, the floor plan. All these documents are on the blockchain. They're verifiable with proof of document. I think I like this property, so I'm going to click invest. And then I'm done. I've invested in a property. Every month I get monthly dividends based on the rental income from that property. My digital shares reflect the property value. So if I own 10% of the property, I have 10% of the shares. If that property goes up by 5%, my shares go up by 5%. I can liquidate my shares anytime back and sell them back to the marketplace like that. And that is Reitium. And thank you guys so much for listening.